Welcome back my dear students of third prep في حلقة جديدة من حلقات الساينس تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. في الحلقة دي we are going to continue what we started before about lenses. At the last episode اتكلمنا على types of lenses, either convex and concave lens, and we know how can you determine or define all the concepts related to this convex or concave lenses. Today we are going to know how can we draw images forms in concave and convex lens like we did in the mirror. As we did before we start to know what are the shapes or the position of images in the lenses, we have to pass on the rules that we are going to use it in drawing those images. Let's go and see how can we draw these rules, but be ready with a piece of paper, your pencil, ruler and eraser, and let's start together. Now we are going to know how can we draw the rules related to the formation of image in the convex lens. Let's start with rule number 1. At the beginning, we have to know how can we draw the convex lens easily. You are going to make it like that, and then thin in the tips and thick in the middle, and make a dotted line to represent the middle of the lens, putting the optical center in the middle of the lens. And start to make the principal axis with two center of curvature, as we said before, because it's coming from two spheres, and we have two focus. This is the center of curvature, and this is the focus, and this is the second focus and center of curvature. The first light ray here passes parallel to the principal axis. Let's make the line passing by the principal axis, and it should be reaching this point in the middle, not here or not there, in the middle, and start to make the refraction. And I said what's meant by refraction? Bending of the light ray. Type. If it passes parallel to the principal axis, it refracts passing by the focus. It refracts, this is the refraction, like this, bending, passing by the focus, and then put your ray, and this is the first rule. Parallel to the principal axis, refracted passes by the focus. The second rule, here, my lens, and then put your dotted line to represent the middle, put your optical center in the middle, and this is my principal axis with two center of curvature and two focus. This is the center of curvature, and this is focus, and another focus and center of curvature. The second ray here passing by here parallel, here passing by the focus. Let's see how. If the ray passing by the focus, I can make it from two sides, either from this side or this side, but choose the one side. Reaches the middle line of the lens. It will refract in the other transparent side of the lens parallel to the principal axis. So this is the light ray that falls on the lens, and this is the refracted light ray which is going out from the lens parallel to the principal axis. The third rule, which is the last one, if the light ray, here is my lens, put the dotted line in the middle, this is the optical center, I repeat it to recognize the parts, and this is the principal axis, with center of curvature here of the sphere, and this is focus, and center of curvature. Here, this line will passing by the optical center of the lens, the midpoint of the lens. What happens as it enter, as it go outside without any refraction, and I can say without any deviation. Deviation means refraction. Let's see how. This is the line passing by the optical center, Okay, this is entering and go out from the lens without any refraction or without any deviation. Those are the 3 rules that we are going to use it in drawing the image. We are going to choose which one of those rules we use it to draw the images formed in the convex lens. Let's go and see how can we use it. Now, after we saw how can we draw the rules related to the convex mirror, let's go and see what are those rules, how can I write it, and what are the type of question related to this rule. Rule number 1, as we drew before, if the incident light ray falls on the lens parallel to the principal axis, it will refract passing by the focus. طب, you will ask me, shall I remember this rule to write it? يعني في question يقول لي write the rule number 1. No, of course not. The questions here, either what happens if I said what happens if the incident light ray falls on the convex lens parallel to the principal axis, what we are going to say? It will refract passing by the focus. As we draw together, it will refract passing by the focus, as we see now. Type. The second rule, if I said what happens if the light ray falls on the lens passing by the focus or complete, هتقولي ايه؟ It refract parallel to the principal axis. And here في point of confusion ودايما بنget a mistake here. You're going to write a light reflects. No, of course not. The light refracts. You have to mention here احنا بنتكلم على lenses والlenses بتعمل refraction of light. So you have to say the light will refract how? Parallel to the principal axis as we see now in the drawing. Type. Next rule. If the light ray passing by the optical center, or I can say by the center of vision, what happens to the light ray? It will passes without any refraction. And another, I have another name for the word refraction, without any deviation, or I can say undeviated. What I said all those alternatives because sometimes بيجي لك complete أو choose. هيجي لك كلمة مش not refraction، يقول لك deviated. يبقى you have to know undeviated, not refracted, all are the same meaning. امتى بتحصل undeviation? When the light ray passing by the optical center or the center of vision of the lens, which in the middle as we draw together. Okay, those are the rules related to the convex lens. طب let's go and see what are the cases. Remember when we took the mirrors we have many cases. Let's كده refresh our mind ونفتكر how can we draw. At the beginning I will say to you put the object on a certain location. We started the location from certain points. As we did before in the mirror, we are going to make the same in the lenses. We are going to start with the first location here. Look with me in this table. I will put my object in position. Remember in the mirror كان على فين? At a distance greater than the center of curvature or the radius of curvature. وممكن أقولها بطريقة تانية at a distance more than double of the focal length. I said ان انا عندي terminologies كتير ممكن العب بالكلمات واحنا ما نتلخبطش خالص. هي at a distance greater than the center of curvature. كده close your eyes and تخيل انا عندي sphere وعندي center of curvature. distance greater يعني قبل السي. طب لو قالها لي in another way at a distance double الفوكال length. انا عارفه هو ايه double الفوكال length؟ اللي هو السنتر اوف كيرفتشر. يبقى away more يعني بعد السنتر اوف ايه كيرفتشر. اوكي طيب let's see here هنسمرايز and then we are going to practice together how can you draw it مع بعض. طيب here هنلاقي look at the drawing here. This is the lens and here is the object where at a distance greater than the center of curvature. I'm going to to make the rules. أول ray هعمله passing parallel to the principal axis as you see here. طب what happens to it? It refracts. How? Passing by the focus. This is the ray. طيب what about, I will choose which one? I will choose in all the cases the ray that passes without deviation. يعني هيمر بإيه؟ بالcenter of vision. This is the ray that passes without any refraction or any deviation. طيب we remember together how can I draw the image? Look at the two parts, the intersection of the refracted light rays, and then start to put your image. Here is my image. Where? Between C and F. طيب look here to this image and try with me to say the properties of the image. يعني ايه صفات الإيمج اللي طالعه لي هنا؟ Number 1 inverted. Yes, it's inverted. طيب I said if it's inverted so it's real ولا virtual? Yes, actually it's real. I can take it on a screen. طيب look to the size. It's minimized, very small than the real object. So I can predict the properties without any difficulties. مش لازم أحفظها. I will see the image that forms and then I'm going to write the properties from the image I made it. Okay, this is the first case. Let's move to the next case. طب where I'm going to put the object. Get step forward. يعني between what? Between the center of curvature and the focus. لا هنبتدي على center of curvature first. هنقرب شوية. يبقى at the center of curvature, or can I use another way? In a distance double or twice the focal length. يعني أنا لما بحطه على center of curvature بحطه على double الفوكال length. يبقى here ليه أنا بقول لك دي الاثنين؟ عشان في الإكزامبلز في البروبلمز لما بيجي لك مش هيقول لك حاجة كده سهلة، هيجيب لك أفكار مختلفة. طب you have to know what's meant by double focal length. يبقى أنا هحطه على center of curvature. طب sometimes يجيب لي أرقام، هنشوف هنبراكتس later on في الريفيجن على types of question. طيب let's go and see how can we draw it. This is my lens with two center of curvatures with two focus, and then I will put the object where? At center of curvature. This is the first ray refracted from the center passing by the focus, and this is the second ray passing by the optical center without any deviation. Here, طب can you say to me where I'm going to put the object? Here in the intersection. Look to the image where? On C. على نفس السي بس السايد التاني. اوكي طيب يبقى البوزيشن of the image on the center of curvature. طب what are the properties of image؟ يلا نقول مع بعض. Inverted, real, and what? The same size of the object. قده بالظبط. Here is the properties. 1 real, 2 inverted, finally it's equal the size of the object. Next case, where I'm going to put the object? Between C and F, between the center of curvature and the focus. Here is the object position. طيب let's see how can we draw it. Here the lens, here the object between the center of curvature and the focus, and this is the first ray parallel to the principal axis. Can you tell me what happens? It refracts. How? Passing by the focus. Then the next ray passing by the center of vision without any deviation. Look here to the intersected part where away أو at a distance greater than the radius of curvature. هي طلعت لي كده مظبوطة. طب I'm going to draw the image. Here is the image. يلا can you tell me the properties? Inverted, real, but magnified, larger than the real object. يبقى here you can predict without any صعوبة خالص، فيش difficulty خالص. I draw it and then I get the properties real, inverted, and magnified. Next case. Where I'm going to put the object on the focus. Remember in the case of the mirror, if we draw the object on the focus, what happens? No image is formed. As here, shall we say why عليها give reason. The position of the image at infinity. What's meant by infinity? Infinity in Arabic means ما لا نهاية، يعني no image، مش شايفة حاجة. ليه؟ Remember the give reason that we took it in the mirror because rays, the extension of rays فضلوا ماشيين parallel to each other so they cannot be intersected, so no image is formed like we see here in the image. أهو. This is the object on the focus. This is the first ray. It refracted, passes by the focus. The second ray here, both are parallel to the infinity. من ناحيتين parallel, so they never meet together, they never intersect together. So what shall I do in the properties of mirror? في الحالة دي هقول إيه؟ طالما I can't see an image, so the image is virtual. Or the ray are extended to the parallel to each other to the infinity. هقول no image، مفيش infinity. فهكتب في البروبرتي عادي جدا هقول the rays exact parallel to the infinity. The last case هقرب تاني من اللينس so I will be where between the center of vision and the focus. أقرب حتة ممكنة لللينسز. طيب نشوف. Or another way at a distance. لو قلت لك at a distance smaller than إيه؟ smaller than the focal length. أيوة أصغر، مش الفوكس والميد بوينت هما دي اللينس ما بينهم هي الفوكال لينس، أنا كمان قربت أقرب يبقى at a distance less than the focal length. So let's go and see how. إيه المنظر اللي هيطلع لي؟ Look here, this is the lens and this is the object here between the focus and the optical center. أقرب حاجة لللينس. This is the first ray and this is the refracted ray. The next ray passing by the focus. طيب look here to the image. عملت extension. Why? Because they can't meet from in the side. So هفضل أمد extension بدotted lines until the two refracted rays لازم أقابلهم ببعض. Then after they meet together I will draw the image. ملاحظ حاجة هنا؟ أول شكل يطلع لنا الإيمج جنب الأوبجكت، ودي كيس مميزة جدا بيتسأل عليها أسئلة كتير جدا لأن the only case in which the image is formed beside the object. الأوبجكت والإيمج شايفينهم beside each other. طيب لما يسألني كده question in which case of all the cases of the convex mirror convex lens the image is formed beside the object، هقول له when the object is between، هفتكر كده انها اخر كيس اقرب كيس يبقى between ايه؟ between the focus and the optical center. Here the only case اللي فيها الimage formed beside the object. طب can you tell me what are the properties of the image formed؟ ايوه what number one virtual. ليه virtual؟ لانها in the side of the object. كل الايمجز اللي اتكونت قبل كده كانت in the other side. Here is the only side, so the next side, so هقول عليها virtual image. وطالما قلت virtual التوين بتاعها تبقى ايه على طول؟ تبقى upright اهي معدولة. Okay? And what about its size? It's magnified. ولو if you forget the word magnified you can write bigger or larger than the object. طيب. After we saw all those cases, let's go together and practice how can we draw it with ourselves. Bring your paper and pencil and ruler and let's start together. Now let's practice together how can we draw مع بعض one or two cases من ال cases that we took it together because you have to know how can we put the image and put the object and recognize the image. Let's start with this one. This is the lens and the two focus, and here I have C, center of curvature, and I have another center of curvature here, and I start to put my object at a distance greater than the center of curvature, يعني away or more than the double the focal length. Let's see how can we draw the images formed here. زي ما اتفقنا we have to prepare your drawing by drawing the lens and measure here the principal axis. Actually here in this case about 8 centimeter length. and then put the focus here on 4 centimeter. 1 اقسم المسافة دي ل 4 and put F, and here 4 and put F for the focus, and start to put the object as we know the state, الكيس اللي انت عايز ترسمها. Here I'm going to put my object here on a distance greater than the center of curvature, and have to recognize this is my object. Then I start to make the rays. First of all هنراجع مع بعض كده. امسك القلم pencil ruler and start with me the first ray parallel to the principal axis, and لازم اوصل للcenter of او البارت الميدل part of the lens، لا قبله ولا بعده، starting from the tip of the object like this. Then what happens to this ray? It will refract. How it refract? It refract passing by the focus. Make your ruler like that. From the part that reaches the part, the middle part in the lens, start to make the refraction. But the refraction should be what? Should be passing by the focus. This is my focus. Here, make it refraction like that. And connected like كده. And put your ray. This is the light ray, and this is the refracted light ray. This is the first ray. Next ray, I said we are going to use the first rule, and actually we are going to use the one ray passing by the optical center. وقلنا by rules, if it passes by the optical center, it passes without any refraction or undeviated. Let's see how. This is my ruler, and this is the second ray. Adjust your ruler, passing by the center of vision, and make it pass without any refraction. But you have to start from the same point. Like this one. It actually needs to be accurate in doing this type of drawing. Passing by the center of vision here, and until the two intersected part بيبانوا عندي. So here is my image. Here my image. How can I write the image? First of all, I'm going to look for the part which is intersected. This part هظبط الانترسكشن بتاعتي لان هي دي البدايه اللي انا هعمل منها الهيد of the object. This is the ray, the intersected ray. Okay. Okay. Then here the intersected part, and here is my center of curvature. Here this is the image. I will make the arrow, and here is my image. This is my image as image here. So if I see my image here, can you tell me what is the location of the image? The position? It's between the focus and the center of curvature. Okay. Actually, I got it from the drawing. I didn't memorize it. And what else? Can you recognize the properties of this image? It's inverted. دي معدولة ودي inverted. طيب, what about inverted? Inverted means what? Inverted means real. And what about its size? It's smaller than the size of the object. So it's clear to us here how can we draw this type of drawing. Let's move into another one. Let's choose this case because this case is completely different from all those cases. As I said, here هنشوف الimage formed where. Here, what is the location of the object? You can see here the location between the focus and between the optical center. Let's go and see how can we make it. First, this is the first ray. From the object to the the middle part of the lens. Can you see it? Then it will refract how? Passing by the focus, quickly, passing by the focus. You have to be accurate in drawing these cases to get it very well. Okay? Just adjust your ruler and be patient. Okay, here is the ray passing by the focus. Okay, the next ray, as I said, it will be passing by the center of vision without any deviation. Here is the ray without any deviation. So they are going to meet each other here in the extension. How can I make the extension? By dotted line. Make the dotted line like here. Dots, 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 until they meet each other. Here is the location. What is the location? As I said before, I said that in this case, the images are, or the image is formed where? Next to the object. الحالة الوحيدة that I can see the image next to the object, I can draw it here, is the image, and it's virtual, and it's like as you see here, the image is beside the object and it's real and it's upright, and this is the case that I said about it before. Now, well, let's sum up what we took in this episode. We took a lot of things, but quickly we are going to move in briefly على اللي خدناه. We took how the rules to draw the images in the lenses, either the concave and the convex lens, and we also know how are the states or the cases that formation of images in the convex lens. And I hope that you understand the lesson of today, practice well, and make all these cases alone. And let's meet again in the next episode. Until now, goodbye.